One rooftop kiss should have ended the argument. Instead, it sent them into the night with silence, heat, and no way back. The ride across the city was almost completely silent. Not awkward silence. Not empty silence. The kind that pulsed. Amanda sat in the back of the car with one hand still locked with Sofia's, their joined fingers resting on the dark leather seat between them like something neither of them had agreed to and neither of them was willing to undo. Outside, the city slid past in wet ribbons of gold and white. Glass towers. Blurred traffic. A red light trembling across rain-black pavement. Every few blocks, headlights washed over Amanda's face and disappeared again, leaving her features cut in shadow and pale light, sharp cheekbones, parted mouth, the faintest crack in the flawless composure she wore like armor. Sofia watched her once in the window reflection instead of directly. Amanda felt that too. Of course she did. She looked down at their hands, then out at the city again, then back at nothing. Still, she didn't let go. Neither did Sofia. The driver said nothing. He knew better. At one light, Amanda shifted as if she might finally pull her hand free, but Sofia's fingers tightened just enough to stop the thought before it became movement. Amanda turned her head, eyes flashing. Sofia met the look calmly. For a second, the car felt too small for both of them. Amanda's voice, when it came, was low and controlled and not nearly as steady as she wanted it to be. "You're very sure of yourself." Sofia's thumb moved once across the inside of Amanda's wrist. "Barely there. Deliberate." "No," she said. "Not about everything." Amanda let out one short, disbelieving breath through her nose and looked away again. That answer sat between them for the rest of the ride. When the car finally turned beneath the awning of Amanda's building, she did not ask where they were going. That, more than anything, gave her away. The lobby was all stone, smoked glass, and soft light polished to within an inch of sterility. The night guard looked up, recognized Amanda instantly, and very carefully did not look too long at the dark-haired consultant beside her or the fact that Amanda Mercer, impeccably Amanda Mercer, had let someone walk in beside her with her lipstick slightly blurred and her pulse still visible at the base of her throat. The private elevator doors opened. They stepped inside. The doors closed. Only then did Amanda finally pull her hand free. Not far. Not dramatically. Just enough to put a breath of space between them. Sofia let her. Amanda stood near the mirrored wall, one hand at her side, the other still curled from where Sofia's fingers had been. Her ivory dinner jacket made her look almost untouchable in the clean elevator light, all sharp silk and gold and precision. Her hair still held its shape, but not perfectly now. One side had loosened just slightly in the wind from the balcony. One small imperfection. It made her look more dangerous. Sofia watched the elevator numbers climb. Amanda watched Sofia in the mirror. The tension in that narrow space was so thick it almost felt visible. Heat under polished surfaces, impact suspended a second before it landed. Then Amanda said, without looking away from Sofia's reflection, "Who said you were invited upstairs?" Sofia's gaze lifted to hers in the mirror. "You didn't tell me to stop." Amanda turned then, slow and exquisite and furious in a way that should have frightened a reasonable person. "Do you always answer a question with another question?" "Only when someone's pretending not to know the answer." The elevator reached the penthouse level with a soft chime. Amanda stared at her for one beat too long. Then she stepped out first. Amanda's apartment looked exactly the way Sofia had expected it would. Beautiful. Controlled. Untouched by chaos. The entry opened into a wide living space lined with floor-to-ceiling windows that turned the city into living art, white bridges, red taillights, the hard glitter of towers under rain-washed sky. Creamstone. Black steel. Warm oak. Expensive furniture arranged with a precision that looked effortless until you realized nothing in the room was accidental. There were no family photos in silver frames. No clutter. No visible history except what taste implied. Everything in the apartment said the same thing Amanda did when she walked into a room. "I decide what stays." She crossed the space without turning the main lights on, leaving only the city and a few low amber lamps to shape the room. It made everything more dangerous. Softer at the edges. Better for shadows. Amanda set her clutch down on the console near the entry and slipped off her heels with one clean, irritated motion. For a second, she simply stood there, barefoot on polished stone. Back to Sofia, one hand braced against the edge of the console as if she were collecting herself by force. Sofia closed the door quietly behind them. Neither of them moved for a few beats. Then Amanda said, "You still haven't explained what exactly you think you're doing." Sofia took off her coat and set it over the back of a chair. "That depends." Amanda laughed once, the sound all sharp edges. On whether you want the polite answer or the honest one." Amanda turned. The city lit her from behind in white and gold, outlining the elegant line of her body beneath ivory and black. Her blouse had come slightly loose at the throat. Her hair had shifted just enough to suggest someone had finally managed to disturb it. Her face was composed. Her eyes were not. "That confidence of yours," she said softly, "is becoming a problem." Sofia stepped closer. Not all the way. Just enough to make Amanda track it. "That woman in the lobby," Sofia said. "She touched you like she had every right to." Amanda's expression cooled instantly. "Evelyn and I have history." "I figured." Amanda folded her arms. "And now you're interrogating me in my own home?" "No," Sofia's voice stayed low and even. "I'm telling you I noticed." Amanda stared at her. Sofia held her gaze. "She put her hand on your back and walked you away like she knew exactly how far she could go. Feet." Then, very quietly, "And you let her." There it was. Not open jealousy. Not a claim. Something sharper. Something much more interesting. Amanda felt it like heat down her spine. "And that bothered you?" she asked. Sofia's eyes dropped, once, to Amanda's mouth before lifting again. More than it should have. The honesty of it changed the room. Amanda's breath caught, so slightly another woman might have missed it. Sofia didn't. Amanda tried for coldness. "I wasn't aware I owed you an explanation." "You don't." Sofia took one more step. "But I think you want one." Amanda's jaw tightened. "You think a lot." "I do." "And you're usually this comfortable in other people's penthouses?" Sofia's mouth shifted, not quite a smile. "No." Amanda looked at her for a long, suspended second. Then she turned away too fast, went to the bar, and reached for a bottle she clearly did not need. Sofia crossed the room, took the glass from her hand before she could pour anything, and set it down out of reach. Amanda went still. Every nerve in her body seemed to wake at once. "That," she said, almost dangerously quiet, "is a very bad idea." Sofia leaned one hand on the bar beside her, close enough now that Amanda had to either look at her or visibly avoid doing it. "And yet," Sofia said, "here we are." Amanda should have stepped away. Should have drawn one last hard line and held it. Instead, she stayed where she was, caged only by a bar counter on one side and a woman who had finally stopped pretending she was immune on the other. Sofia's gaze moved over her face with infuriating care. "Who was she to you?" Amanda swallowed once. "A long time ago?" "A mistake." Sofia was quiet. Amanda could feel the question that followed before Sofia even asked it. "And what am I?" The room seemed to narrow around the words. Amanda looked at her, really looked at her, and for one flashing second all the polished answers she usually reached for failed to arrive. That was all Sofia needed. She lifted a hand and touched two fingers lightly to the inside of Amanda's wrist. The same place. The exact same place. Amanda's whole body reacted. She hated that. Hated how immediate it was. How complete. Hated the way Sofia saw it happen. Sofia's thumb pressed once over her pulse. "You feel that?" she asked. Amanda's voice came out rougher than before. "You're enjoying this too much." Sofia didn't deny it. Instead she said, "Look at me." Amanda froze. Of all the things Sofia had said to her, those 3 words landed the deepest. Not loud. Not demanding. Just certain. Amanda lifted her eyes. And there it was, the thing that had been building ever since the kitchen, ever since the bandage, ever since those first calm hands had touched her like obedience was inevitable. Sofia stepped in close enough that Amanda could feel her warmth through the layers of silk and air and restraint. For a second neither moved. Then Amanda said, low and furious and already losing, "You do realize I could throw you out." Sofia's fingers tightened around her wrist, not harshly, just with enough certainty to make Amanda's breath hitch. You could, Sofia said. But you won't. The line burned. Amanda's answer died in her throat because Sofia's other hand had already come up to her jaw, tilting her face just slightly, not forcing, just guiding. Amanda's eyes flashed. Sofia kissed her anyway. Not the way she had on the balcony. This was slower, deeper. No surprise to hide behind now. No public space. No city wind. Just Amanda's body going rigid for the first second, then traitorously soft in all the places it mattered. Sofia kissed like she meant to finish what she had started. Amanda made a sound against her mouth. Half protest, half surrender, all heat. The hand Sofia still had at her wrist moved higher, sliding along the inside of her forearm. Then down again with deliberate control, as if she wanted Amanda to feel every inch of the path. Amanda caught at Sofia's blazer with one hand, not quite pulling her closer, not quite pushing her back. Sofia pulled away only enough to breathe. That, Amanda said, chest rising too fast, is exactly the kind of arrogance I can't stand. Sofia's mouth brushed the corner of her lips as she answered. No, she murmured. It isn't. Then she kissed her again, and this time Amanda turned fully into it. That was the real shift. Not the kiss. The turn. The moment Amanda stopped standing there like a woman under attack and moved like a woman who had wanted this too long to keep lying about it. Sofia felt it and changed immediately. One hand at Amanda's waist now, the other sliding to the nape of her neck, holding the line of her exactly where she wanted her. Amanda's back hit the edge of the bar. Hard enough to make her gasp. Sofia used that. Her mouth moved from Amanda's lips to her jaw, then lower, to the warm, elegant line of her throat where Amanda's pulse was still racing out of control. She kissed there once, twice, then again, slower, and Amanda's head tipped back before she could stop it. The sound she made this time was quieter. Worse. Sofia's voice against her skin was low and devastating. You don't have to hold everything so tight. Amanda's fingers clenched in the fabric at Sofia's shoulders. That's not your decision to make. Tonight. Sofia kissed the side of her neck again, her hand flattening at Amanda's waist, steadying her as if she already knew she'd need it. Maybe it is. The heat in Amanda's body moved sharp and immediate, dropping low enough to make standing still feel impossible. She hated how fast it was happening. Hated how clearly Sofia could read her. Hated that none of it made her want Sofia to stop. Amanda's hands found Sofia's wrists. For one dangerous second, it looked as if she might break the whole thing apart. Instead, she held on. Sofia lifted her head and looked at her. Amanda's hair was no longer perfect. Her lipstick was gone. Her ivory jacket had slipped open enough to show the soft shine of silk beneath and the rise and fall of breath she could no longer regulate. She looked less like a CO now and more like something much rarer, something starved and furious and exquisitely close to giving in. Sofia's eyes darkened. There you are, she said. That did it. Amanda kissed her like anger had finally found the right target. All the elegant restraint vanished for a few blazing seconds. She caught Sofia by the lapels and dragged her in, mouth hot and demanding, breath breaking between kisses like she was done pretending she could survive on control alone. Sofia let her have that. For a moment. Then she took the pace back. One hand slid down Amanda's back and drew her away from the bar. The other caught her wrist again, clean, practiced, intimate now in a way that made Amanda's whole body light up with recognition. She walked her backward across the living room in slow steps, not rushing, not asking, until Amanda's shoulders met the wall beside the windows. The city opened behind them in impossible light. Amanda, in silk and shadow and gold, looked almost unreal. Sofia kissed her there against the glass and darkened distance, kissed her until Amanda's breath came ragged and her proud, impossible body started giving itself away in pieces. Stay still, Sofia murmured. Amanda laughed once, breathless and ruined at the edges. That command really works for you, doesn't it? Sofia's hand slid from her wrist to her waist again, then higher, settling just below her ribs where Amanda's breathing was sharpest. You can mock me, she said. Or you can stop pretending you don't like it. Amanda stared at her, furious all over again because the answer was written everywhere, in the heat on her skin, the way she leaned in instead of away, the way her whole body had gone alert under Sofia's hands. So she did the only thing left. She kissed her. Longer this time. Deeper. No shield left at all. Sofia's fingers slipped into the opening of Amanda's dinner jacket, pushed it slowly off one shoulder, then the other. The ivory fabric slid down Amanda's arms and dropped soundlessly to the floor. Amanda looked down at it once, absurdly, as if the sight of her own discarded elegance should have shocked her more than it did. When she lifted her eyes again, Sofia was watching her with such concentrated attention it almost made her knees weak. That was humiliating. And wildly, catastrophically hot. "You have got to stop looking at me like that," Amanda said. Sofia stepped closer until there was no space left at all. "No." Then she kissed the place where Amanda's blouse opened at the throat, one slow brush of her mouth over skin that had been hidden all evening, and Amanda's head tipped back against the wall with a soft, involuntary sound she clearly hated making. Sofia's voice was lower now, rougher around the edges. "Tell me to stop." Amanda's eyes flew open. It was a real offer. That was the most dangerous part. Real choice. Real exit. No force to hide behind, no convenient story she could tell herself later. Amanda looked at her, chest rising hard, every perfect defense in ruins around her feet. Then she said, almost angrily, "If I wanted you to stop, you'd know." Something flashed through Sofia's face then. Hunger, satisfaction, maybe both. She kissed Amanda with it. By the time they made it to the bedroom, Amanda's blouse was half open, Sofia's blazer was gone somewhere behind them, and the apartment no longer looked like a place designed for peace. It looked like a place waiting to witness surrender. The bedroom was all dark linen, low light and glass. The city spread beyond the windows like a second sky. Sofia pulled Amanda in and kissed her until the sharpness left her posture by force, until the tension in her shoulders started to melt under wandering hands and careful pressure, until Amanda's fingers stopped clutching and started holding. There was nothing gentle about the need between them. But there was care in it. Precision. Sofia never rushed her. That was what undid Amanda most. Not urgency. Not hunger. That Sofia could take control without making her feel cornered. Could lead without noise. Could hold her still and somehow make it feel like relief instead of defeat. At one point Amanda caught Sofia's wrist again, breath shuddering, eyes bright and furious and wrecked all at once. Sofia held still and looked at her. Amanda's voice was almost gone. "Don't." Sofia read the rest of it anyway. "Don't look at me like that. Don't make this mean something. Don't make it easy. Don't stop." Sofia kissed the inside of her wrist and said the simplest thing in the world. "Let me." Amanda's hand loosened. That small surrender might have been the hottest thing either of them did all night. After that, there was no clean line between wanting and having. Just silk dragged loose. Low light across skin. The city shining indifferently outside while inside Amanda came apart by elegant, irreversible degrees. Sofia learned quickly how Amanda sounded when she stopped trying to be composed. How she breathed when she lost the pace. How her body went from rigid to trembling under patient, unshakable hands. Every time Amanda tried to recover control with a sharp word or a stubborn lift of her chin, Sofia answered by kissing her quieter, slower, deeper, until the fight dissolved into heat and need and a kind of aching honesty Amanda had spent years avoiding. And when Amanda finally gave in completely, really gave in, every guarded inch of her yielding all at once, Sofia held her through it, mouth at her throat, hand at her waist, voice low against her skin. "That's it." Amanda shuddered beneath her. Not from weakness. From relief. It was long past midnight when the apartment finally fell quiet again. Not silent. Never silent. Their breathing still moved through the dark in uneven rhythm. Amanda lay half-tangled in dark sheets and loosened silk, one arm thrown across her middle, as if even now some instinct in her wanted to gather herself back together. Her hair was no longer controlled in any meaningful sense. Her mouth was swollen from kissing. Her body looked boneless in a way that would have offended her deeply if she'd had enough energy left to care. Sofia sat beside her for a moment, watching. Amanda opened one eye. "That expression on your face is insufferable." Sofia brushed one fingertip lightly over the inside of Amanda's wrist again. "You're still here," she said. Amanda's laugh came out soft and wrecked. "That's your big observation?" "No." Sofia leaned down and kissed her once, slow, warm. No battle left in it now. Then near her mouth, near enough for the words to land like another touch, she said, "My big observation is that you like being taken care of a lot more than you want to admit." Amanda looked at her with the exhausted outrage of a woman too undone to fully deny it. "That," she said, voice low and frayed, "is a deeply offensive conclusion." Sofia's mouth curved. And accurate. Amanda should have argued. She should have reached for coldness, for distance, for one last clever line sharp enough to rebuild the wall. Instead, she looked up at the woman beside her, the woman who had seen Evelyn touch her and said nothing, the woman who had followed her anyway, the woman who had walked into her perfect apartment and rearranged the entire emotional physics of the place in under an hour, and felt something much more dangerous than less subtle under her ribs. Not peace. Not yet. But something close enough to make her uneasy. Sofia lay down beside her then, not crowding, just close enough for warmth. Amanda stared at the ceiling a moment longer, then turned her head. "Don't mistake this for a pattern," she said. Sofia looked back at her. "I wouldn't dream of it." Amanda narrowed her eyes. That sounded sarcastic. It was. Amanda should have hated that. Instead, to her own horror, the corner of her mouth moved. Just barely. Sofia saw it. Of course she did. She didn't comment. She only reached for Amanda's hand in the dark and turned it over, thumb pressing once over the place where everything had started. Amanda let her. Outside, the city kept burning. Inside, Amanda Mercer lay in her own immaculate bed with a woman who had kissed her into silence, taken control without stealing dignity, and left her feeling more exposed than any boardroom ever had. That should have terrified her. It did. And that was only going to make the next day more dangerous. And if you're still here with me, take a second to like and subscribe. Stories like this only reach more people when YouTube sees real engagement. And tell me in the comments where you're listening from, and what moment in this part hit you the hardest. If this episode pulled you in, like the video and subscribe so YouTube keeps pushing stories like this. And in the comments, tell me where you're listening from, and what moment stayed with you the most. In the next episode, Amanda has to wake up inside the very thing she's been trying to outrun, and Sofia is no longer willing to pretend last night changed nothing.